So big city or small city after all. So both of them have their advantages and disadvantages. It's good to be able to talk about advantages and disadvantages, but let's see. We have countryside, we have urban areas, and what's the opposite of urban?
Rural.
Rural. Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages? We can say advantages and disadvantages. What else?
Pros and cons.
Cons and pros, minuses and pluses. Yes? We're talking about minuses and pluses. We're talking about pros and cons. Merits and demerits. Merits would be the positive points. Demerits would be the negative points.
So what about drawbacks and what?
Well, then we just say drawback. Something has its own, every good thing has its drawbacks. Drawback or downside. Have you heard the expression? Every rose, go ahead. Every rose has its thorn. And every cloud has, very good, a silver lining. What does that mean? Every cloud has a silver lining. Every rose has its thorn. What does that mean? What else in this regard? Let's see. One man's meat is another man's what? Poison. Right? Different strokes for different folks. Tastes are different. There is no accounting for tastes. Different people have different tastes, right? Different people have different tastes. Also, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay. They all pretty much have the same story. They're quite related. They're relevant to each other. They're related. So, everything has its advantages and disadvantages. Now we say, for example, one man's a freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Yes? So we say one man's a freedom fighter. Freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Terrorist. The Israelis say the Palestinians are terrorists. They're not freedom fighters. The Palestinians say the Israelis are terrorists. So, there are so many people here Some people say yes, Palestinians are freedom fighters, others would say they're terrorists. So it's a matter of opinion, and maybe taste sometimes. If it's about color, it's taste. If it's about opinion, it's opinion. So one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. We would say one man's meat is another man's poison. What is meat to me is poison to you. Yes? Tastes are different. Tastes are different. Different people have different tastes. And there's no accounting for taste. There's no accounting for taste means what? There's no explanation. I like the color red because I like the color red. I can't explain to you why I like the color red. I like it. Or I love the color blue. Can I explain it? Sometimes you go to somewhere and you say, who's going to buy this? And you just wait for like a few seconds and see the next person in line is, oh, what a beautiful t-shirt, for example. I love this. It's happened to me a lot. I'm like, who's ever going to buy this? And you see that the next person, and then you look at the person, and what you see that person's good, looking good, stylish, so something's wrong with me. That person's buying it. So tastes are different. Different people have different tastes. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What is to behold? It means to see. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What looks ugly to me may look quite pretty to someone else. Yes? What looks pretty to me may look quite bad. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We're not talking about beauty, but they say beauty is only skin deep. Have you heard that? It means, hey, don't care about beauty very much. It's very superficial. Some people believe that beauty is only skin deep. It's only skin deep. Very superficial. You know, superficial means not deep. Yeah. I give you a couple of more ones about this because it's good to have any time that we can to have a look at idioms and expressions and proverbs. It's good. Sometimes you see people who are really opposite. They're poles apart. Say, Jack and Jill, his wife, girlfriend, whatever, are poles apart. Poles apart means like they're two opposite poles. The North Pole and the South Pole. Two poles of a magnet, you know? Two poles of a magnet. I wonder how they got together. I wonder how they get along. I would answer you, well, opposites. Can somebody help? Opposites. Opposites attract. Opposites attract. Sometimes opposite people attract each other, right? But on the other hand, we say, hey, but you know what? Birds of a feather fly together. Or flock together. Or another word that I can't mention. Birds of a feather flock together. Or fly together. Flock is get together. Right? Fly together is together. Also, you would say like. Likes. Like. Like, likes, like. The people, usually, birds of a feather flock together. Flock together. Those who are equal and similar usually get together. Well, likes, like, likes, like. And we have things that are similar to this, but not related. Like, you know, we say, like father, like son. Like mother, like daughter. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Like father, like son. like mother, like daughter. Mother and daughter pretty much the same. Like when you see a striking resemblance. Remember a striking resemblance? A striking resemblance between a father and son. Say, well, like father, like son, like mother, like daughter. Striking resemblance between mother and daughter. Usually the same in terms of behavior and also. So birds of a feather flock together. Like likes like father, like son, like mother, like daughter. Opposites attract. And two people are poles apart. Jim and John are brothers, but they're poles apart. One is extremely stingy, the other one is extremely generous. They're exactly opposites. They're poles apart. Yes? Remember they were talking about Miriam and her boyfriend Eduardo? So what did Kirk say? He said, well, they're extremely different. They're poles apart, actually. One speaks a lot, one doesn't speak at all. One is dominant, one is more subservient. So basically, now we're done with this, because we're actually talking about something else. But, so, when I'm talking about advantages and disadvantages, and merits and demerits, and cons and pros, the cons and pros does not mean it's usually about the arguments for and against something. For and against. So, if we're discussing cons and pros, we're talking about ideas that are for, con, and pro for, and con, against. Something? Yes. We talked about comparison, remember? Compared with something else is, let's review that together real quick. Compared with large cities, small cities are, or small towns are?
Smaller.
So let's just put those words once again, just to make sure that you guys remember. It was compared with A, B is, so compared with large cities, small towns are? What else? Go ahead. A is while B is, do I need a comma here? No. If while is in the middle of the sentence, no. But if I say while A is, I need a comma, then I need B is, remember, if I'm comparing, I need these things, and you should repeat all the time. The reason why I repeat is because you should repeat all the time. Language is all repetition. Some people do not believe in it. They say language is all rules, based on cognitive code of education. But personally, after 20 years of teaching, I see that if you don't repeat, you don't remember. So yes, you know something is in your mind, you know, I knew it, oh I know. But as long as you can't use it, what good is that? Because you don't repeat it, you don't use it. You don't use it, it's over. It's somewhere passive in the back of your head. Somewhere in the dust heap of your memory. Buried. You have to exhume it, you have to bring it out. So, A is blah blah, while B is like that. Or whereas. Remember? While, whereas big cities are like this, small towns are like that. Although, even though big cities have more facilities, I'd rather live in a small town because I'm a person who loves calm and quiet. And I hate the hustle and this bustle of big cities. You know hustle and bustle? Hustle and
Yeah.
bustle. This is a good combination for big cities if you ever want to talk about the hustle and bustle of crowded places, big markets, big cities. So the hustle and bustle is all the toing and froing, all that noise, all that human traffic, cars, human traffic, noise, and all that. All that together is all the hustle and bustle. You see, we have many of these combinations, like bells and whistles. Bells and whistles. Big cities with all their neon lighting. You know, when you talk about big cities, you think of neon lights. All those neon lights, like when you talk about Las Vegas, for example, you see all the neon lights. The lights that are very, neon lights are the lights of the stores and the things like big hotels are out there. Like when you go to the Dundas Square here in Toronto, or when you go to the Times Square in New York, all that neon. Neon basically means all the big lights. So it's good to have some of these words. So when you talk about big cities and crowded places, and you talk about all that, what comes to mind? Traffic? Traffic. If you're talking about some negative things. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of noise. Traffic, all that noise. The honking of cars. You know honking? Boop, boop, boop. That's honking, right? The ambulance, when the ambulance comes, or the fire machine comes, the fire truck. What is that sound? Or the police cars? Siren. Sirens blaring, right? To blare. That loud noise that's blaring all the time. To blare. To blare. Yes? So, if somebody is talking about big cities and wants to speak in a negative way, would say, all the hustle and bustle, all that traffic, all that noise, all that air pollution. So we were talking about noise pollution and air pollution. The air is pollution? No, if I said the air is polluted. The air is polluted. So all that air pollution, noise pollution, you see these hammer jacks, people digging holes in the street, like yeah. All the construction going on, if you talk about the construction. So where does the noise come from? From the traffic, from the cars, from the people, from the hustle bustle of all these things, from the hammer jacks, from the construction. Everywhere there's a construction site, everywhere they're building something, digging roads, building bridges, building roads, and you want to say, hey, look, I'm sick and tired of all that, and I want to go somewhere calm and quiet. Calm and quiet come together, right? Calm and quiet. And live a calm and quiet life. Away from the hustle and bustle of big cities. I want to go somewhere calm and quiet, away from the hustle and bustle of big cities. So, while there are many facilities and while there are many amenities and facilities and services in big cities, personally, I prefer to Now, in writing, can I say I'd rather? No. In writing, we don't use contractions, formal writing. Formal writing, we don't use contractions. Rather, no. Would rather, if I want to say. I don't say I'd rather. I don't contract words. In formal writing, no contractions. Yes, I prefer to. So, while A is B is like this. Whereas A is like this, B is like that. Or B is like that, while A is like that. What happens in terms of punctuation? While A is like this, comma, B is like that. But if I say A is like this, while B is like that, no comma. Okay? So while, whereas, although A is like this, B is like that. Although big cities are crowded and full of traffic and noise, there are many advantages that I like, such as the facilities, services, nightlife, nightclubs, sport complexes, gyms, cinemas, shopping centers, a lot of young people. Some cities, some large cities are cosmopolitan. You see, multicultural. You see different people from different parts of the world. You get to meet. Meet and get to meet. You get to meet. Not just meet. You get to meet. That is, you can meet. So you get to meet. You get to meet people from all sides of the world. Yes, there are some downsides. Of course, there's some drawbacks, some downsides. But for me, the advantages, what? The disadvantages? Say it again. Again? Very good. So for me, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. I would say for me,